Welcome to the Knowledge Entrepreneurs Show, where we celebrate the innovators driving change in the education industry. At Edison OS, we've worked with over 500 knowledge entrepreneurs to turn their Edtech ideas into profitable businesses. So, Raghu, first of all, thank you so much for deciding to join me on this
My pleasure.
podcast and choosing this time. Also, it's a wonderful
Indeed.
time to do such things.
Indeed.
Saturday morning, 9 o'clock. After you, once it's done, you're like you already feel you've done something uh, very nice to
Cool.
start off the weekend. So,
Pleasure.
thank you for that. And Raghu, I know that we've
Mhm.
spoken briefly before, but we're going to start fresh. I've forgotten everything that I
Okay.
spoke with you, and before we get started, before I ask you questions and all sort of thing. First of all, please remember this is nothing but a
Yeah.
conversation,
Right.
nothing more. Very casual conversation, but the topic of conversation is the only
Right.
thing that we are kind of not letting
Right.
it
Right.
wander. That's about it. But just to give uh, what is this podcast?
Mhm.
As the name says, it's the Knowledge Entrepreneur Show. It's a show where we have guests who are either founders or CEOs or building tech products, so who's got something to do with the knowledge entrepreneurship space. And the listeners also, we our intention is to give value to people who are in the knowledge entrepreneurship domain. So that's the niche that we've chosen. And why have we chosen this niche? Because we as a company, we help trainers, training academies, and anybody who's in the knowledge space, give them an online platform. For them it's like everything from website to invoicing to payments, everything,
Mhm.
live
Mhm.
classes, recorded courses, and stuff like that. And our audience are mostly people who are trying to build a
Right.
course or build a business around this area. And that's the reason we want to talk to knowledge entrepreneurs, and then understand how the business works. Yes, we will be talking about what
Mhm.
iMature
Mhm.
is a
Mhm.
little bit, but mostly about how around iMature, how
Right.
you build iMature, what is your
Right.
vision for iMature, what are the ups and downs that you face,
Sure.
stuff like that. So yeah, with that being said, I'll start off with my first question. It's a
Mhm.
very open
Mhm.
question to start off with, and it's to do with not iMature, it's to do with the
Okay.
person Raghu Pandey, because at the end of the day, I'm sure iMature, given that it's your product, your personality is gonna be intertwined
Indeed.
with the
Indeed.
company as well. So knowing you is almost little bit knowing
It's true
about
with every
iMature
small
as well.
startup. So yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and also it's a good way for people to connect with the person, and then everything that you speak later would make so much
Sure.
more sense, so
Sure.
much more interesting. So that's, yeah. So Raghu, start off from as early as you want.
Okay.
From your childhood, maybe. What was your life growing up? Where did you kind of get that entrepreneurship bug, and then how what's a journey of yours up until
Right.
here? Over to you,
Thanks,
Raghu.
Jagmohan. The entrepreneurship coming and really bugging me and so intensely is quite an interesting episode in my life. So I grew up entirely in Bhopal. Bhopal is a small town. I would call it the largest small town of India, although it has exceeded the population of 25 lakh or something. The mindset is still a very
Yeah,
laid back, complacent,
right,
that kind of town. Uh, so nothing in this city can give you ambitions to grow your wings and fly high, soar high. Those kinds of, no adrenaline or no those kind of neurochemistry which is behind an entrepreneur. Nothing like that from the city. Although
right,
it's an amazing place to be here. The quality of life is unparalleled, I would say. Uh, in anywhere in India. So probably that gave me a lot of time to think about things. So uh, my schooling was from good schools of the city, uh,
Right.
and there also it was just an average academic system, which my teenage was in 90s, right? So when I was
Right.
growing in schools, so schools were okay, and I got a bit disconnected from schools because they did not serve the curiosity of the child. So
Mm.
probably that disconnection and living in a small town gives you a lot of free time to think. I do tend to see uh,
Right.
teenagers in big cities, Mumbai, Bangalore, Delhi. They also, when they become curious, the city takes over them.
Mm.
That's my observation.
Right. Right.
Probably
Right.
I had a bit of advantage back then that when I was
Mm.
curious about life, I did not have many options to get distracted. So, going to some
Right.
libraries, working on certain projects, not very advanced one, very, very childish and kiddish things, you know, growing my interest in the field of automobiles, reading those magazines and
Right.
having a nice life, bicycling around, playing around with friends. So
Right.
probably that is where my ambitions started rising in the field of, probably the passion in the field of automobiles gave me that small spark to look at things which are excellent in field, having a Maruti 800 at home and looking at the new Mercedes S class in overdrive or autocar. Probably that is what propelled me outside that Bhopali ecosystem, or that well, that kuan called Bhopal, in which we were living like small frogs. Uh, I did my engineering right from this city, computer science engineering. It completed in 2002, and 2002
Okay.
itself, I was in United States pursuing my MS in computer science again from University of Massachusetts in Dartmouth. So
Okay.
for 1 year in Dartmouth, it was an amazing life, but it was the same year which
Mhm.
uh, I got exposed to so many things which which make you ambitious, which make
Mm.
you think big, and probably
Right.
that small spark, small seed of doing something big, which I would call it non-existent till the time I felt that I was in when I was in University of Massachusetts. It was non-existent till then, but it flourished after that. It
Mm.
sprouted and it
Mm.
flourished pretty fast. So probably it was, if you want me to name one turning point in my life which made me an entrepreneur, was reading a book called The
Mm.
Fall and Rise of American Automobile Industry. So till till
Mm.
that time I was interested in cars just like any teenager would be. Millions of teenagers are
Right.
passionate about the
Right.
new cars, the powerful cars, the beautiful cars, and but I got my
Right.
hands on something called the business and in the industry of cars, and
Right.
it did some khichdi of ambition, business ideas, passion, that I started thinking so passionately about the business processes. You know, for the first time in my life,
Mm.
I started making notes without being forced to. And
Right.
when
Right.
that happened, I realized that no, boss, this has gotten a little deeper than what any you know till now. I hadn't experienced that
Yeah.
depth of experience of new ideas coming in, taking roots in your head,
Right.
and permanent roots in your head.
Right.
I decided to drop out, and
Right.
probably that's the certificate of how serious that idea was lodged into my.
You decided to
Yeah, I
drop out of
decided to
your
drop out
masters.
from my masters, and Typical
Wow.
middle class boy deciding to drop out of a US university and actually getting dropped
Yeah.
off and returning to India after just 1 year of master's course. Probably, that is what we can call the entrepreneurship bug bit me really hard.
Mm,
And at that point of time, it
right.
was not a particular industry that I wanted to get into. It was actually building up a company. So mota mota, it was
Right.
around IT. The ideas were around IT, but it was that
Right.
uh, desire to create a company, desire to create value, and so many things from my childhood and the exposure of US and all. Probably it was the culmination of all of those things. The build up was all of those things coming at a point that I decided to now make that my life. And why did I drop out? It wasn't
Right.
that I wasn't not getting value in US. I was getting immense value there. I was really enjoying my life, and for the
Mm,
first time I was enjoying the education, the learning process.
right.
But I thought that if I do not come back to India now as in 2003,
Mm,
probably
mm,
the
mm,
next bus would be many years later when I'm into my career in US and a family at a stable. I had seen my seniors, my elder brothers, and all those people who come to US, get into an IT industry, and then how it becomes the world they live in, and it's so difficult to get out of that world
right.
and get back to India. And I thought that if it's now, then it will be much later in life. So I decided to do that now. Came back, and
Right.
since I did not have a business background in running companies, although both my parents, had been self-employed professionals, uh, but yeah,
Okay.
my dad was an income tax consultant and also, developed a cooperative
Mm,
housing society, so a business in real estate and taxation.
mm,
Uh, my mom was very actively into, handicrafts and arts as a teacher, as a self-employed teacher. So,
right.
although that was in my thinking right from my childhood, but building a company is.
Are you the only
I
child?
have a
Do you have any
sibling. I have a
siblings?
younger sister.
Got it.
It's okay.
I'm so
You
sorry to
feel
interrupt. Yeah,
feel
please.
free to,
Since
because it has to be a
you told about
conversation.
your parents.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, but I also don't want to cut your train of thought. But I just thought, that question. I
No
don't know. I couldn't
problem.
stop. Yeah, please,
Uh,
please continue.
so
You were talking about
Indeed.
your
So,
mother was
exactly,
also,
building a
yeah.
company felt very, very different from being a self-employed person to me. So I thought I need more exposure around that.
Hmm.
I need more exposure around companies of IT. So I got a good opportunity to enroll myself into an institute called International Institute of Information Technology. This is based in Pune in the soft. Yeah.
Yeah, triple IT. That's how
Actually,
it's commonly
no.
called, right?
Actually, it is
Yeah.
called I Square IT to differentiate itself from triple IT. Bec- because
Oh,
this
okay,
is
okay, okay.
owned by the Phenolics Group, and the triple
Huh.
ITs are
Got
Indian
it.
Institute of Information Technology, which is the government institutions.
Okay,
Right,
okay,
you have it in
okay.
Bangalore,
Got it.
Hyderabad, Allahabad also, I guess, has a triple IT, if I'm not wrong. So those are Indian Institute of
Right.
Information Technology. This is International Institute of Information Technology run by the Phenolics Group. But my attraction point was
Right.
that it was right in the Hinjawadi, which is the software technology park of Pune, one of the uh, hubs of IT industry,
Hmm.
IT companies in Pune. So, right,
In Pune.
being situated
Right.
right there, I was sure of getting a lot of exposure to the business of IT, to the top level companies. You name the top companies of the Indian
Hmm.
IT, and they have an office in Hinjawadi. So, it was a great opportunity for me. I spent 2 years there,
Right.
and although the course was Masters of Science in Advanced Networking and Telecommunication, I'm very passionate about networking technologies. But my objective of being in I Square IT was to learn business of IT more than the course. So somehow I got through the course, but
Got it.
I made sure you know, I get a good exposure to uh, the business people, the companies, and all the things that I was lacking in my clarity. I got a good start there.
Right.
And right after completing
Great.
my and I also built a business plan when I was there, and it was around starting a
Mm-hmm.
local networking portal, uh, like we have a social
Hmm.
networking for people connecting from anywhere.
Yeah.
My idea was to create a local networking portal dedicated to people in a particular city. So that would have and we have many examples
Okay.
of that. None succeeded very, there is no stellar success in that category yet. Uh, but back then it was
Right.
just emerging. I'm talking about 2005, 4 and 5. So, with
Got it.
that idea of a
Got it.
local networking portal, we branded it cityvala.com. Started my first company in
Hmm.
2005. And
Mm-hmm.
since my dad was a
Hmm.
tax consultant, he immensely helped me in incorporation and other things, which back then was,
I think your registered company is named
that's my
Cityvala,
one.
right? I saw
Yeah, one
your
of the
iMature.
I have two. I am a director in two companies, two private limited companies. The older one is Cityalla Infotech Private Limited,
Okay.
with which we started, and the current startup is under
Okay.
iMature Edtech Private Limited. Right. So these
Oh,
are
okay.
two
Got it.
different
Got it.
companies.
Fine.
When I started in 2005, incorporation was a very tedious process, a lot of paperwork, and it's not as
Right.
easy as it is today. So
Right.
that hassle was made easy by my dad's support. But beyond
Right.
that, I was completely on my own, because the idea which I
Right.
came up with, the local networking portal, building it technically was
Hmm.
not that much of a challenge, because I
Right.
was a programmer myself. Started learning a bit of
Hmm.
content management systems. So building that portal or a bunch of portals technically
Hmm.
was not that much of a problem. But
Okay.
the go-to market thing, re- I
Right.
realized
Right.
that you just cannot personally go and start adding people 10 one day, 20 other day. It has to
Yeah.
have a big fund available for you to do it properly.
Right.
So that's when the idea of pivot came into my mind, without the word pivot, but the idea of concept of pivoting came
Hmm.
into my mind. And probably we can know more
Right.
about it. If you have more questions about the entrepreneurship bug, then we can address those,
Of
and then
course.
we
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
talk about my first startup, iBranch.in, which emerged after this pivot.
Right. Okay. Oh, so iBranch. Okay, I think that's where I saw on LinkedIn. iBranch, and then in the bracket it's Cityvala. So the pivot was the
Yeah.
Cityvala
Yeah.
pivoted to iBranch. Got it. But before I jump into these things, I have just a couple of questions out of curiosity. From whatever you said, couple of things. One is you said you graduated in
As an
2002
engineer, yeah,
from your
yeah,
computer science
yeah.
as a computer science thing, and then you without a gap job experience
Yes,
you went to
because
do
right in
MS.
the third year of my engineering, as the trend was back those days, start preparing for GRE.
Right, right,
And
right.
while you are
GRE, right,
still in a BE course, you have already applied to university, so as soon as the engineering
right,
ends, where, if you have acceptance, then you know where you are going.
right, 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 right. So, looking back, Raghu, do you feel a couple of years of job experience would have helped in between engineering and masters?
Definitely. And today I recommend to every
Okay.
engineering pass out or any college pass out, that before rushing into masters, go do a job, so that you
Hmm.
will make better choices of going into masters. The
Right,
only exception for our batch back then was, we were right in the middle of dot com bubble burst. So hiring in IT
okay,
was almost zero back. So that's why a lot of batchmates of
okay,
mine They went abroad, they went into
Hmm.
Gate IIT, they did MBAs. So hardly anyone did a proper job after the engineering was over.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Got it. Got it. Got it. So that's
Big
also one of
reason,
the reasons why, you thought instead of
big
waiting for the
reason.
job, you could at least, skill yourself by
I
doing a
would give you
master's or
just
something
one
like that.
instance that would clarify the situation.
Sure.
The entire batch of
Sure.
our computer science 2002 was sitting in an interview for
Okay.
you know a BPO company. So if you can
Oh
realize
my
what was the
God. Oh
situation
my
like,
God. Yeah.
where they only
Yeah. Yeah.
wanted to
Computer
hear
science.
was,
See,
can you speak in English and can you pick up the accent that we're going to train you for? That's the only requirement, and the entire
right.
batch of University Institute of Technology 2002 computer science sitting for an interview in that.
Got it. Yeah. That must have, yeah, yeah, yeah. When the job market is like down, I think if job is
Right,
the only thing that you want, especially after an engineering, I don't think
right.
people have much choice. I mean, not that they have a choice, but
Indeed,
yeah, it's
indeed.
making a choice, right? Money is as important as anything sometimes. So, Raghu, another question I had was like, how did your family react to you dropping out out of your
Yeah.
masters in
So
between?
not easy at all. Not easy at all. Yeah. So
Right. Because it takes a lot of
yes,
money, right, to
yes.
go and do masters, and a lot of money you must have
I
already invested.
was partially fortunate to have got a teaching assistantship in US. So the UMass
Okay.
Dartmouth is not one of the most expensive universities, and I got a teaching
Okay.
assistantship there. So what it did back then was it was, I think my tuition fees was waived off, which was a significant portion of what we pay to the university. And then it also
Wow.
gave me a small salary to take care of my monthly expenses. So it was not a lot of
Hmm.
burning of money, but for a middle class family, it was a significant amount which I burnt there.
Yeah.
And so
There are two aspects, right? One is the financial aspect. One more is the
that's the
social
bigger
aspect.
aspect, much bigger aspect.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
in middle class families, a boy going to US is seen as transitioning from one phase of
Big
life
thing.
into another, and now the sun has dawned in his life, and
Yeah.
he will grow it as a separate uh, animal altogether now. Computer science का लड़का
Yeah.
US में पढ़
Yeah.
रहा है. If that label has been acquired
Yeah.
by a family, then nothing like it. And then ladka
Right.
coming back and rubbing that label off, it's not easy. It was not easy, so it required a lot of convincing, although my parents did not
Right.
vehemently opposed this, or it was not a situation of
Hmm.
friction. uh, but yes, there
Right.
was a lot of concern, and I had to
Right.
convince them a lot. They did support me. They did support me that, okay, if you are taking this decision, you
Hmm.
must have thought through it. But yeah, it was not without their concerns. And till
Right.
date, I keep getting questions of why did you drop out? Because it beats people, to think that when you were in that, uh, you know,
Especially when you're into entrepreneurship and you're not in a
exactly,
unicorn company, they
exactly,
will ask you
exactly.
that.
So yeah, I still answer those questions. So coming from within the family, from the friends
Right.
group, so I've become habitual of answering that question. वापस क्यों आ गए?
Right. Got it. Got it. Just wanted to, not that I want to know the answers, but I know as a curious, this must have definitely had an impact. And, it does so much of mental stress and tension, right? When you're like going abroad and then
Indeed,
you're not completing it, especially parents are like, they would have kind of,
indeed,
boasted
indeed,
off and with all the
exactly.
pride. Our son is in the US, and then comes a lot of other things are there. Anyway, cool, got it. But I think at this point, only thing that I feel like telling you is kudos to you for you've made some brave choices let's see how the journey is unfolded from there. So, um, Raghu, you said you joined International Institute of Information Technology in Pune, that
Yeah.
was owned by Finolex, and you also helped me understand the difference between triple IT and this. I wasn't aware about it. You said more than the technological aspects. Given that you were a computer science graduate, you've done your masters, I'm sure you had your know-how about the programming, coding side of computers and stuff like that. But was International Institute of Information Technology Pune an MBA for computer science people? Was it something like that? Is that what they were
No, in
offering?
fact, they were offering. I'm not aware about the current offerings. The institute is very well
Right.
functioning, but back then when I joined, it was MBA was also being offered in various fields. I guess
Uh huh.
MBA IT was also an option, but I did not choose. I did not choose that. Uh, my course was
Okay.
a proper MS course, Master of Science course. It was modeled on the lines of foreign universities offering Masters of Science course, uh,
Ah,
different
okay.
from the
Interesting.
MTech, which is being offered in. Yeah,
Raghu, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna
no
like
problem.
stop you, interrupt you here. So you did your masters
It
in
was I dropped out
US.
of that 1 year of
So
masters. Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, you dropped out. You dropped out. Yes, yes, yes. You dropped out. Did you choose this to kind of Did you have a realization later? Or I probably should have finished
Not that.
masters. Since you dropped out, is that why
No,
you
not
did
that.
this?
Not
What was the
that. The
reason?
reason was that the subject that I was, learning, uh, I was loving the most in my masters in US was networking related
Okay.
subjects, subjects related to computer
Okay.
networking, and this course
Hmm.
MS in Advanced Networking and Telecommunication was very close to it had all the aspects of computer networking. So that's why, just for the interest, my personal interest part of it, I chose this one. Otherwise, I was
Okay.
clear that it's not a course or a degree that I am after, because as it is, I'm not going to present it to any interviewer and ask for a job.
You're talking about the
Yeah, yeah.
International
So
Institute
they
of
had MS.
Information
Yeah, they
Technology.
also
What
had
course you
MS
chose? Okay.
programs, which was purely technical programs. So I chose that only because I liked the subject of networking. Yeah,
You
yeah,
like the
yeah.
networking aspect of it. Got
Indeed,
the
indeed.
networks and all. Okay, got it, got it. When you say networks, sorry, I mean you
Yeah,
need
sure,
to
sure,
help
sure.
me understand a little bit more. Networks, as you know, the only thing that comes to my mind is networking, routers connecting internet.
Yes,
Is that the same
that's the
networking you're
bulk
talking
of
about?
what we learn in any networking course. How
Okay,
computers interconnect
okay.
at a small level as a LAN, which your laptop being connected to another laptop in your office,
Ha,
or at the largest level of internet, where
interesting.
thousands of routers are in play. And then you add to it all the
Got it,
complexities that you see today: mobile communication, you know, internet based,
got it.
TCP based communication, and other protocols. So, all of these things fall
Got it.
into the purview of advanced networking and telecommunication. Yeah.
Networking. Got it, Raghu. Interesting. So, I mean, see, being a computer science graduate, right? I mean, you must have seen the way computer science degree helps people and what all they have done. Interesting that you were interested in networking side of it. What led to this?
What led to this? Yeah, again, it's a good question, because see, computer science is such a big variety of subjects you get to see in computer science. There is graphics, there is databases, there is operating systems, there is networking. There's uh, back then neural networks and AI was taking roots. Uh, so many options there,
Right,
but probably the thing I talked to you about, the concept of local networking, which I started my
right,
entrepreneurship journey with, it had taken its roots in the
right.
days of engineering when I wrote a technical paper around it, how computer
Mm,
networks can help connect entities in a city and help fight the problem
ah,
of traffic and
right, right,
pollution,
right,
and
right.
reduce people's physical movement
Mm,
by enabling virtual movement. So it was a very
right.
early days version of what we see today, everyone connected. So
Got it,
it wasn't a rocket science
got
thing.
it.
Everybody understood those concepts. I just articulated it the way I wanted it. probably there,
Got it.
the concept of networking opened up before me, and interconnections,
Mm,
how
mm,
interconnections happen in the world of computers. Then I also did one of my
right.
engineering projects around that with the help of my friend, networking, based on networking. So the curiosity had, yeah,
Got it.
started
Interesting.
right in the engineering days.
Got it, Raghu. Thank you for taking me back to where it
Right.
kind of started off, because yeah, now it makes sense to me. Because I see that there has been that sort of you've always looks like you've connected it with social problem solving. Like, even when you spoke about not building a company, but then you spoke about how that can be related to solving everyday issues that we face in our cities and the
Right.
places that we live in. And even whatever you're doing now seems very
Right.
connected with that,
Sure.
right? So, but I'll come to this. So you spoke about starting this local connectivity sort of a startup or a company, and that happened after you joined International Institute of
Indeed.
Information Technology, or you had that idea and to upskill yourself. Is that why you joined International Institute of
So,
Information Technology?
Jagmohan, when I actually dropped out, I was doing a lot of,
Uh-huh.
thinking in my head. It was not a
Mm,
abrupt decision. It was
mm,
not a, spur of the moment or heat of the moment decision.
right.
I did a lot of, written analysis of what dropping out means and what I'm going to do. So I thought about a lot of
Huh.
ideas, and a local networking idea was one
Right.
of the things which I had in mind because I had thought about it in the engineering
Ah,
days. Uh, so
got it.
from there, I guess, uh,
By that time, where any social media was still there? I don't think so, right?
no,
Like
Orkut
Orkut or
hadn't
any,
started.
MySpace,
MySpace and
nothing.
High Five,
Okay.
two were the names we were hearing. I wasn't a part of any of
Uh,
those
in
when I was
when you
doing
were doing
masters in US.
masters.
So yeah, and I guess
Okay.
Facebook
Okay.
started in 2004 or five, if I'm not wrong, and not as in the publicly available social network. They started in Harvard around 2004 or five. So
Right.
before that, it was MySpace, High Five,
Okay.
and I don't know if Friendster was also back then active. So it was very early days for social
Right.
networks.
Hmm.
And my inspiration hadn't come from being a part of social network, but seeing the how LANs and WANs, wide area networks, and those kind of things, in
Got
theory
it. Got
more
it.
than in reality.
Got it.
So that's what the inspiration
Got it.
behind,
Got it.
and I've always been an application person. So I want to see technology
Okay.
applied to solve some problem, and that is in the DNA of every entrepreneur. Unless you have that, you cannot be an entrepreneur.
Right.
You can be an amazing professor and an innovator and
Right.
an inventor, but not an entrepreneur. So, a
Got it.
sensitivity towards a problem which should be solved, that has to be there. And since it was there with me since engineering days, that's how it grew up with the concept of networking, solving the problem of city.
Got it. Got it, Raghu. No, this is clear for me, chronologically. You do your masters, and then while you decide to kind of, when you think about dropping out, that's when this idea of
Right.
local networking, and then, you go to International Institute of International Information Technology. And that was like what, a
It
one
was a
year
2 years
course?
course. Yeah.
2 years course. Okay. Great. And that's how you started. Okay, so what was this Cityalla
Very
idea? What
simple
was
idea.
that startup all
Cityalla.com
about?
was very simply a portal wherein the service providers in
Mm-hmm.
a city and service consumers in a city, they can be, mm,
Mm-hmm.
matched together. Simple idea that if you
Mm.
want to drive down 20 kilometers in a city in
Something like Just
yeah.
Dial.
However, Just Dial is still Yellow Pages on steroids. What we had thought, what
Right.
the USP of Cityvala.com was, we were planning to allow collaboration like we are doing, advanced level of collaboration between people, which was
Okay.
technically a challenge back then, but still
Okay.
not an impossible thing.
Hmm.
So that the
Got it.
physical meeting could be replaced by a virtual meeting between people. It had a lot of, uh, it was
Mm,
based on video communication and advanced display of your services and products uh, online. So kind of, giving what Shopify gives to you today. Uh, and
right,
as you can see, it was a very heavy lifting for a startup. We did not realize that it's heavy lifting, but it was. So, and that's what we
right.
realized when we started working on it.
Okay. And you were a team of how many
Uh,
people?
Three when I started. So my batch.
Okay. All
Yes,
engineers,
all engineers.
coders.
So one of my batchmates from iScore IT, uh, Rahul, and one of my elder brothers, cousin brothers, they joined. So both of them engineers. Uh,
Okay.
and
Okay.
yes, so we did start with a good team. But as I said, it was actually heavy
Right.
lifting that we realized later that we have chewed
Right.
much more than what we can swallow.
Got it. And what about the
Zero.
money, the
We
capital?
had nothing. It was a completely bootstrapped idea.
Okay.
We had what does an IT
Okay.
startup require as a capital expense? We had the laptops and the desktops required, and that's it. A
Okay.
space to sit in my dad's office. That was
Okay.
granted to us, and beyond that,
And how long did
yeah,
this?
sorry.
Yeah, go on. No, no, continue.
We did start with a couple of random projects to build a website or give networking consulting to some businesses to get some money. We did get some money, and
Right.
through that process we also
Mm.
mastered that content management system thing that I was talking about earlier. uh,
Mm.
so
Right. Right.
but we did not have any capital to start with.
Right. Right.
That was the scenario.
Got it. And how long did the Cityalla journey
I
last?
would say not more than 1 year before we realized that without having funding,
Mm.
this thing cannot
Right.
take shape.
Okay.
And I can go into the details, but that would become too academic how prototypes and go to market works, and it might be boring. But I
Got it.
pivoted
Got it.
probably
Got it.
within 1 year of starting Cityalla.com, and the pivot was based
Okay.
around our knowledge of content management system, which we acquired in that 1 year of time.
Got it.
Basically, a CMS is nothing but
Right.
a well facilitated, software, a facilitating software for you
Mm.
to create advanced websites, dynamic portals, advanced with minimal amount
Right.
of coding required. So it's always
Right.
a great
Right.
decision to use a CMS rather than from scratch you build your portal. So we developed that skill. A
Hmm.
CMS called .NET
Okay.
Nuke, which comes from the .NET family. It is an open source one. We developed
Mm.
our skills around that.
Okay.
Based on that
Okay.
knowledge of that CMS, we thought that it can very well be applied in the domain of colleges, because we all of us were right fresh out of college people, and we understood how
Right.
what were the dynamics in a college like. So we
Right.
thought that it can become an intra-college portal or a knowledge-sharing portal within the college,
Mm.
which has all the knowledge-sharing facilities like discussion forums, blogs, document sharing, shared calendar.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
and I'm talking about 2005, 6. So we did not have
Right.
any option available to colleges to do that, unless they're very well, very resourceful colleges like the IITs or the top private universities.
Right.
Average college does not have
Right.
access to any such uh, knowledge sharing portal or something. So we decided to start that. We launched our first
Got it.
product. It was traditional software sold on a CD and one-time payment.
Okay. This is we are talking about
It
iBranch,
is the
right?
precursor to iBranch, which existed for 6 months.
Okay.
So
Okay. Okay.
we created a portal software using the open source .NET
Mm-hmm.
Nuke. Uh, Convinced a couple of
Mm-hmm.
engineering colleges in Bhopal that here is an amazing thing. It
Mm-hmm.
will help you improve your knowledge ecosystem within your the learning environment in your college, and it is very cheap. Buy it. They bought it, and even in back in those days, all the engineering colleges, because of the mandate from the AICTE, had a server infrastructure and all those things in place. So that was not a challenge. So we did install
Right.
our software on their servers, but beyond that, the colleges were not equipped to run a server 24/7, which is a basic essential need for a service to be available to students. And we
Right.
were just making it available on the LAN, the
Got it.
simplest of offering. But even then, uh,
Right.
a peon would just shut off everything in the campus before leaving the campus, including the server room. So you can imagine that kind of a mindset existing, and no server administrator being there to make sure that the server, if there is some troubleshooting required. So we realized that we cannot depend on the clients to run their servers. And then
Got it.
by force, not by any streak of genius innovation or anything, we became probably India's first SaaS company in the edtech domain. And that I realized today, not back then. We decided कि server तो
Okay.
अपना ही लगाना पड़ेगा. We bought the cheapest of the Dell server possible, and luckily,
Right.
Reliance Infocom, which was probably Anil Ambani owned telecom
Yeah.
company, they
Yeah.
started a fiber optic service in the city. It was pretty new and it was giving amazing speeds.
Right.
So we took that connection,
Okay.
again, the cheapest possible. And that's how we became a SaaS company, and it was rebranded as iBranch.in. So, yeah.
Ah,
Earlier it was called
got it.
Integ, integration ka Integ. You integrate people. Pathetic brand. I don't know why we
Got it.
kept that. But then iBranch.in was the thing which it was a well thought that I stands for internet and branch is any organization having its branch on internet wherein their people can
Right.
come
Right.
and meet and share knowledge and do everything.
Right.
So that's how iBranch.in started in
Got it.
2006.
And this is the same team as your
Yes,
Cityalla.
the same team as Cityvala, but the team facing, see, since Cityvala was such an uphill task, uh, the team actually moved on to their other aspirations. The team members gradually, right?
Got it.
So
Got
and
it.
and I had it.
So
No,
iBranch
I
was
had
just
a
you.
newer team. So yeah, I had a newer
Okay.
team with iBranch.in. So which stayed
Okay.
along with me till 2010, 2010. And then yes, the next thing,
But looks like you ran iBranch for
5 years.
almost 2013 till
No,
2013, right?
it was available in the market till 2011. After that, only the
Okay.
existing customers who were using iBranch service, we kept serving them.
Mm.
But I had already
Okay.
moved on to another business, which I'm doing right now.
Got it. So iBranch, you know, how high did it go? How many customers did you manage to acquire? What is the kind of business that you managed to do? Were you
Uh,
profitable?
we were profitable only because our costs were very low. So it should not qualify
Okay.
as a profitable startup because we were taking what peanuts in salary, equivalent to no salary, and very low cost of
Got it.
operations. So by those standards, okay, it was
It
profit.
was profitable. On
Yeah,
paper, it was profitable.
but actually, I should not call it a profitable startup, and that's the reason
Okay.
we had to shut it down. See, we reached a height of almost 50 uh, subscribers, B2B, all colleges, majority of them colleges, few in
Okay.
schools. Uh, and all of those subscribers were very happy to start this service because it was pretty cheap. It was around 25K per year for an organization, which is nothing for an organization. Sorry.
So what you were offering is that a portal for a college where they could upload all their, where students can access
Right.
all the
So
curriculum, like discussion forums, all
exactly.
that
So
things that
it
you said.
had a notice board where teachers can write notices. It had
Like
like
a
a
learning
learning
management
management,
system.
exactly, it is a learning management system but adapted to Indian higher education needs. So if I may go a little
Got it.
into detail here, all the LMSs that we have today are designed around the Western higher education system, where professor has lot of autonomy
Ah.
to design the semester. Indian higher education system is
Mm.
very, very different, wherein a professor just has to toe the line drawn by the university. So Indian higher education
Okay.
system is requires a very different LMS, and we still do not have that LMS product. So all the LMS products that we have today, majority the most successful ones are designed
Hmm.
for Western higher education system. So what we
Interesting.
designed was a very simple portal wherein it will be a hierarchy of permissions. The principal and the director will have
Hmm.
all the permission to edit content anywhere. The teachers will have their
Hmm.
designated notice board where they can go and write notices. Training and placement cell had their own
Right.
section where they can share content. Uh, Document uploading
Right.
facility was again permission based. On forums and blogs, students can write. Everywhere else, students can access.
Right.
And if a student is not a part of the portal, then the portal is not accessible to any outsider. And all such features
Right.
combined into a very simple portal became a knowledge sharing portal or an intra college portal. And that we offered as a service. So
Got it.
around 25K per year was the charge that we were charging the colleges. And they were happy to, subscribe to our service. Almost
Right.
50 we were able to onboard. The challenge started in the renewal years. It was
Hmm.
not a problem of service
Right.
not being available. Fortunately, not because we were software geniuses, because we made the right choice of choosing a good software stack .NET Nuke, and
Right.
doing a bit of our homework in running that server. And so with basic sincere efforts, we were able to run the service very well. 99.9%
Got it.
availability, going into the jargons, we were able to achieve 99.99% availability. Uh, and it was pretty easy to use for all the users. Uh, uh,
Right.
all my users had their laptops or access to desktops at their homes, at their colleges. So access to service was also not a
Hmm.
problem. Ease of use was not a problem.
Okay.
Service availability was not a
Okay.
problem. And internet
Right.
savviness of users was also not a problem. That me trying to tell them that
Not
what is
okay.
discussion forum, it sounded something very out of this world. No, it was not. They were all pretty active on Orkut,
Okay.
Yahoo chats, the pastimes of those days online. They were pretty active.
Right. Right.
What they were not, you know, equipped with, we realized later. So I should
Hmm.
not jump to that conclusion. I must tell you what happened in those years when renewals dwindled and stopped coming in. Uh,
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
decision makers at our client's end were honestly telling us that we have no
Right.
problem paying you 25 40K per year. That's absolutely
Okay.
not a problem. I mean,
Okay.
if it is cheaper than a peon's salary, right? But
Okay.
our users are not using it, our teachers are not using it, our students are not using it.
Hmm.
Adoption.
Adoption.
Can you do something? Some of them
Right.
were, large-hearted enough to give us a second year of renewal and tell me, do something, train them, make them active, make them use this service. We would be the happiest to see that happen. And we tried our
Right.
level
Right.
best. So that is wherein the diagnosis started
Right.
happening, that despite they being internet savvy, active, having their laptops, having 24/7 Wi-Fi in their hostels at their homes, why are they not accessing it? So that diagnosis resulted into discovery of a skill gap. So students were not
Okay.
equipped with that mindset that internet can be leveraged for self-learning, internet can be leveraged for building a career in future. And also they were not equipped with the knowledge of everything wrong that can happen with them online. Since we were dealing with college kids,
Hmm.
the physical safety and they
Right.
getting distracted to strangers, that was not the important thing. Important thing was, you know, ruining your online reputation by doing something stupid on Orkut or Facebook, or not building your online reputation, which is required in industry. It started since those days. It was not something very out of this world we were talking. But these college students were
Right.
simply blank about all of these aspects of internet. So I
Okay.
thought that it's a
Okay.
knowledge gap and it can very well be filled by delivering some knowledge content to them. Let's do workshops, let's give them some
Got it.
videos. And we did that. I collected, I built a training program around that, and we did deliver that
Hmm.
training program around that. I called it Internet Maturity because I was inspired from
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
terminology of maturity models of software companies. So, you must have heard about CMM level
Hmm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 companies. The biggest ones are, I don't know if they still follow this in IT industry or not. Back in those days, if you are a CMM level 5 company, you are a BAP company like Infosys and Wipro.
Okay.
If you are a CM,
Okay. No,
okay,
I haven't
so
heard
okay,
of this.
CMM
This is
is
the first time I'm
basically
hearing about it.
capability maturity model. So uh, I
Ah.
don't know which
Okay.
organization has designed this, but it was fairly well accepted in the ecosystem. That is how an Indian IT
Got it.
industry boasted its capabilities to the American or the European clients, and it had a well
Got it.
structured, system of how a company can call itself CMM level certain. So a CMM level 3 would be like,
Interesting.
okay, now it can be a serious company taking serious projects, and 4 and 5. So I was inspired by that terminology, and uh, adapting it into individual skills domain. I thought we are talking about
Hmm.
making the best use of internet for your career and education.
Right.
So let's call it internet maturity.
Got it.
So I called it internet maturity, did a
Got it.
lot of workshops around that, trying to fill that thing called
Hmm.
knowledge gap. So this is where this creates all the difference between, not giving somebody knowledge and modifying somebody's behavior. I had, yeah.
Behavior. Yeah. So you basically realized after you diagnosed that, you know what, people aren't
I'm
taking
losing
internet
your
seriously.
voice
They're
here,
not able to
Jagmohan. So in the
understand.
interest of bandwidth, should we turn off the video? Will that help?
No, no, no. The platform is such that it kind of adjusts itself. So I think now I should be
Yes,
back.
now it is better. So
Am
I
I?
also turned off my video, so the bandwidth will support the audio. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, you was asking
No,
something.
I don't think that
Yeah.
is needed because no, you can turn
All
your
right, all
video
right,
back on. The reason I'm saying is this platform, it gives importance to
all right.
audio and it will compromise on the video
Cool.
automatically. And what you see on live, the quality is lower than what is getting
Oh, cool,
recorded. The recorded quality will be
cool.
very
That's
high.
smart.
Yeah, so it's pretty good like that. This reverse side, yeah, yeah, it's pretty good for a podcast channel. Amazing platform. I love it. um, okay, so what I was trying to say, Raghu, and please feel free to stop me when you think that you're not able to
Sure.
hear me. We can wait for
You are
things to
pretty
be
clear
better.
right now.
And
Yeah,
so far,
you're
it's
very
been
clear
pretty
right now. Yeah.
good. Great, great. So you said that okay, after 1 year the renewals were kind of hitting a roadblock, and then the problem was not the money, the problem was not your solution, but the problem was, is it really being used? It leads to two questions, but before I go to that question, I just want to continue on your diagnosis. You diagnosed that the students who are using did not take internet seriously for education. They did not see it, so that's where you are bringing in this internet maturity, and you jump into helping people understand the value of internet,
Indeed. In fact, yeah,
right?
I
You kind
jumped
of
into saving my own startup. It was not an intention otherwise,
exactly, yeah, yeah,
but
yeah,
it
yeah,
was a
yeah, yeah,
sincere
yeah.
effort to, fill that knowledge gap. Yeah, yeah.
Educate people that internet
Yes,
can be used like
yes.
this and stuff like that. That is no, it is, I think it's a very organic approach. You've not done any shortcuts, I think, because easily, there could have been a situation where you could have incentivized students to simply log in, and you could have done anything to show the management,
Huh,
look,
yeah, exactly.
uh, people have
I
logged in
think
and all those
if
things.
I, throw, if I go back in memory lane, had we been funded,
Huh.
we would have gone that shortcut way. I
Right.
would not call ourselves saints of some
Ah,
sort that we chose the most ethical and the.
you
We
didn't have
did
a
not have a
choice.
choice. Yeah. Even if we wanted to incentivize
Right.
those students, we did not have the money to
Right.
give them even keychains to 1,000 students who would write a forum discussion or a blog article. We did not have the money, so we did not have a choice to do that.
Got it. Got it, Raghu. Now, this is one thing. Another question that came to my mind was when you realized adoption was a problem. Okay, you wanted to do this, thinking there is a need and all those things. Was there a gap in understanding or finding out before you did iBranch? Is there really a need? And did you learn any lesson from that? Is this what they call as testing the market? If there is a real need,
The
running a
more
pilot, you
ruthless
know,
way of terming this is problem in search of a solution. Yeah.
problem.
And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
take
yeah,
it
yeah.
from the
Problem in
Y
search of
Combinator
solution. Right,
jargon. Or they are
right.
pretty blunt in putting it this way that
There is no problem to solve, but then
I
you've solved something and
exactly
you're
that's
looking
what
for a
is
problem
yeah
just
yeah
because there's
that's
a
what. So
solution there.
I know blockchain. A
Got it.
blockchain का मैं क्या करूँ? Let's say let's design, let's imagine, let's fantasize.
Just because blockchain. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Got
So
it. Got it.
partly we were doing that. So 50% we were a startup having a solution in search of a problem, right? I don't
Got it.
know.
Got it. That's
At
what iBranch
the
was, and
first
then
time, did I say
yeah,
solution in search of a problem or problem in search of? The thing is,
problem in search of a
no,
solution.
that's the
You
right
said
way.
that.
Sorry, sorry. We were a solution in search of a problem. Yeah.
Search of a problem. Yeah,
So
yes. Yeah, yeah. Correct, correct.
it's
Problem in
perfect.
search
It's
of a
perfect.
solution is
Yeah.
organic. You have a problem,
That's
you
how it
search
should be.
solution. Yeah. But
Yeah.
you said solution in
We
search of a
had a
problem.
solution in
Correct,
search
correct,
of a
correct. Yeah.
problem.
In search of a problem.
50% yes, we
Right.
were that, and 50% we did understand that how the knowledge sharing is just not happening in colleges. So here comes the difference
Right.
between a latent need and an expressed demand from the client. So let's
Right.
say
Right.
the latent need of a young professional on a Saturday is to detox himself and meditate. But the expressed demand is going to a pub and having a ball of a time in the night.
Right. Right. Right.
We were
Yeah. Makes
absolutely right
sense.
with
Makes sense.
the latent need of the client. Teachers need
Latent
to
need.
collaborate and
Right.
share knowledge with
Right.
students. Students should have a 24/7 access to a knowledge sharing platform so that even after the class, when they are self studying and having a doubt, they can put it on forums. How can students self express themselves? They do not have any avenue in the college. If they want to share a knowledge, blogs is the best way. Where can all the events be
Right.
scheduled? There should be a shared calendar. So the latent need part, it was perfect for us to think about it, design a solution around that. And few clients did appreciate that, and iBranch ran well till 2015 with those clients, and they did
Right. Got it.
adopt the new way of life in college, and it was an indispensable solution for them. So it gives a lot of.
Unfortunately, it
It
just
didn't
didn't
scale
scale
up
up
because,
enough
and
to
again, the third mistake was choosing a wrong market. Again, we did not have a choice. Yeah, Bhopal
the
was
wrong
not.
market. You're slightly ahead of the time
For
also.
Bhopal and central India, yes, we were, but had we been in Bangalore, Hyderabad, Pune, I think we could have got the
Hmm.
critical mass which is required for a SaaS startup to,
Right.
that critical
Right.
number of clients to survive and then
Survive.
grow. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
and again, it was
Right.
we didn't have a choice because coming to Bangalore or Hyderabad would have required funding, uh, and our fundraising exercise did not bear any fruit in those days. Uh, we were and I was very active in
Got
the
it.
entrepreneurship learning ecosystem with TIE, ISB Hyderabad. We went to TIE nurturing program of
Right.
Pune. So all of those good things were happening. So the entrepreneurship, structured entrepreneurship
Right.
education, we were acquiring the right way. Uh, but
Got it.
the market size of the product that we were working was not the one VCs go after. It wasn't $1 billion market. So many VCs told us that
Right.
you have revenues, you have a team, you have the sort of product in place, but it's not the market size that we invest in. So all the best. So that's why we remained in a market which did not give us the critical number of clients. However, it could have been done much better. So it was not, it was not a completely majburi kind of thing कि यहाँ पे ही रहना है and there is no option at all. We did not do the marketing research and strategizing, I would say. Market strategy was not the best.
Got it. No, this is a very insightful part. I would suggest, just to reiterate to the listeners, especially who are aspiring to do something. I think this applies
Absolutely.
even today.
Thumb rules.
Look, you could be an expert in something. You could be very passionate about something, but I think, no matter what, you need to check if people want
Absolutely.
what you're offering. uh, just validating based on the latent need doesn't translate to express demand, is what I would take away from this conversation. And it also reminds me of, I love watching movies, and I love watching certain directors talk and certain producers talk. And then there was this recent thing I just can't help linking. uh, there was a director who meets a producer, and then he says, what, I have an amazing story. You won't even move an inch to get some water. You'll be like 2 hours, you'll be listening, I'll have your complete attention. And then he completes telling a story, and then the producer was also very impressed. He was like, amazing stuff, he didn't move to go get some water. But the producer straight out declined, look, it's an amazing story, man, but I don't think this is what people want to watch. So yeah, something like that. I just brought in
Indeed,
this because it's
because
more
you are
relatable.
selling.
And entertainment,
Yes,
unfortunately, it's like that,
yes.
especially in the education field, right? It is, everybody start off doing some noble stuff, but boss, education, unfortunately, is that aspect of life where people do it for the
No option.
no
Correct.
option. Not many of them do it out of passion and stuff like that. So it is always a difficult market. And coming back to iBranch, Raghu, at the peak, what was your team size?
It was a small team back then because we had smartly
Okay.
outsourced our server management in the later years to a cloud company.
Mm,
And we
mm,
had three people in the core team, and then there was an extended team of
okay.
trainers with us. So right.
Got it.
It was a pretty small team, not a big
Got it,
one.
Raghu. Got it. So, Raghu, going back to, when you diagnose the problem, you're trying to solve it. You identify something called as internet maturity. You go about evangelizing internet maturity. And then I'm sure, something happened there, and that is what led to the birth of iMature. Can you walk us through that entire journey of transition from
Sure.
iBranch to iMature?
So, as I said,
What
I made
exactly
a
happened?
very sincere effort of bridging that knowledge gap of people, of those students, and with the hope
Right,
that if they are now
right,
aware about the avenues of sharing knowledge online and building a career using internet, if they're aware about that, they would use it. With that assumption, I made a very
right.
sincere effort, a lot of presentations, a lot of workshops around that. So, although it did not result into a behavior change, which I had wrongly
Mm-hmm.
diagnosed as a knowledge gap problem. It was basically a behavior modification problem. But anyhow, I had
Okay,
accumulated a lot of content around internet maturity. I had,
okay,
designed a structure for that skill gap. And actually,
okay,
internet maturity emerged as a concept rather than just a presentation topic. And I
okay,
could see a curriculum evolving around it. So since I had
okay,
all of those things, so when we decided to shut down iBranch, the first thing I wanted to do
okay.
was before I start anything, let me just monetize all that stuff that I have got. It was as simple as deciding to monetize
Right,
all that content which I have developed around internet maturity and this new concept of internet maturity. I decided to convert it
right.
into a book. I thought
Okay,
that there is a possibility that there can be a business around this knowledge. Let's start with a book. So I took,
Right.
although the content was ready with me, but I did not want to come out with a, textbook kind of thing. It would have been very, very
Right.
boring text for students to go through. Swallowing one bitter pill of chapter and another bitter pill of chapter on social networking, then professional networking, then discussion forums. So it would have put to sleep any normal human. I decided to make it interesting. So I spent good 2 years in finishing that book project and dedicating almost my full year of full time. Uh, and I came out with a book which was not only India's first book on the topic, but also I pulled an innovation there that I delivered the entire knowledge of internet maturity through a story. And that was the inspiration
Okay.
from the episode of Gita wherein Arjun learns from Krishna the highest of the life
Krishna.
lessons.
Right.
So I, adapted that
Right.
concept but made it light-hearted. Arjun, one character, Arjun,
Right.
another character, Krish. Arjun being a student of grade 12, just about to get, hoping to get the best student award, but the principal says that there is another guy called Eklavya who did amazing in his self-learning courses. So we might give that
Right.
award to him. But if you can, develop these internet maturity skills, probably you will have a chance. So he's recommended to a corporate guy called Krish, who can mentor this guy Arjun to become internet mature in some time. So Arjun goes to Krish, and Krish and Arjun have a very light-hearted conversation throughout those chapters which I've designed. Uh, so that took me a lot of time, and because as a student, all those books were pretty boring. However, I used to be very curious about the
Right.
subjects, very curious about the topics, but the books were pretty boring. I did not want to, uh, do repeat the same crime of content creators. And probably
Okay.
that seeded what the mindset that I have today. I want to build a 21st century education ecosystem around, you know, wherein there should not be a differentiation between entertainment and education.
Right.
Or
Right.
in a different
Exactly.
way, edutainment done right. And edutainment
Entertainment.
done right.
Yeah.
There is edutainment existing since, early days of discovery, infotainment, edutainment. There is. But I still see a need for doing it
Yeah.
right. So yeah, so I was talking about the evolution of iMature. Book came out in 2014, and it did receive a good response from people, from educators, from parents. Uh, Two schools in Bhopal, two premium schools in Bhopal, agreed to add this into their compulsory, uh, as
Curriculum.
compulsory part of the curriculum for teenage students. Uh, as a result of
Right.
that pilot project, uh, it was all positive outcomes. The students, the teachers, the school management, the parents all loved the intent of the program and the content of the program. But the only issue was the delivery, the book. It The students
Right.
who
Right.
like reading books, they loved it, but they were a small percentage of the crowd. Hardly 5% of students like to
Yeah.
read books these days. The vast majority do not
Right.
pick up books to learn something from that. So that's where I
Right.
decided that you cannot, deliver this content through a book. It has to be multimedia. That was the number one motivation for me to
Right.
transition from books to what we are today, gamified online courses. Number two was positioning. Uh, Whenever I approached a
Right.
school and I told them that I have this product called book, immediately our identity changed from that of an expert in digital citizenship and internet maturity to that of a bookseller. And then you are equated with all other
Interesting.
booksellers who are waiting for principal to meet them and discuss, all the things that they discuss with principals. You know that.
I was actually expecting a different sort of a thing. I thought, after the book, you would have been looked at as a thought leader, as an author. But it was a bummer that, it went to a bookseller.
I no, I
Okay.
got that dividend out of the book. Getting that identity of a thought leader and somebody pioneering that concept came only after that book. So that benefit certainly came out, and it is still existing today. But that's the
Okay.
positioning of an individual. That's the positioning of Raghu Pandey as the pioneer
Right.
or the thought leader of DCIM education in India. But when we translate that into
Right.
business, we are talking about going to a school and convincing them that, okay, 800 students of your grade 8 to grade 12 need to be given this course, and the course is delivered through this book. And suddenly the dynamics of the talks change from the person Raghu Pandey
Ah,
or the entrepreneur Raghu Pandey selling a product. Positioning of
selling
the
a product.
company
Got it.
was the problem.
Selling a book, especially.
So I was
Hmm.
getting workshop invites and all those things left and right, and I was enjoying that.
So at this point, you were proper iMature. You've moved on from
Yeah, the
iBranch to
brand
iMature.
iMature had emerged already because the book was called Become an iMature Student. So the term had already been coined while I was writing
Hmm.
my book. But the company hadn't come up yet. Uh, iMature Edtech Private.
Okay. You were not clear about the
Indeed, yeah,
business
and
model.
this is what came out of my pilot projects with schools, that this business cannot
Right.
be, positioning will not happen correctly if we are only selling book, and also scale up was number three motivation, and the last one, which forced me to change the product, was scaling up. I was pretty ambitious to scale up pan
Right.
India and global, so with that cannot happen with books and physical
Right.
workshops, simply cannot
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
You know,
Not happening. Yeah. Yeah. You'll be a trainer then. You'll be a probably max you can reach as a
yeah,
celebrity
celebrity
trainer.
trainer, and to run the business or the company based on that, we would have the DNA of a publisher, not that of a expert in a domain.
Right.
So printing
Right.
1,000 books, delivering, looking at damages, returning, and all those. That's the DNA of a publisher. So
Right.
for these three reasons, we decided to, go towards online courses as the mode of delivery to students. So 2 years I took to transition from a book to online course, and in that process, formed a new company. One of my earlier school day friends joined me as a co-founder, and yes, and since then, now we are on this journey. Only the 2 years in COVID was a pause button for us. We did homework in those days, but
Got
clients
it.
were not at all looking at anything new in education. So it was a pause, market pause for us.
Got it, Raghu. So, Raghu, going back to, let me kind of, put this together. So, you are doing iBranch, you diagnose there's a problem, behavior problem, people not being able to identify the value of internet and then use it the way it can be used. And that's where you talk about internet maturity. You end up writing a book, and then you get this reputation. You're going giving workshops, schools incorporating your book as a compulsory part of children's education, a couple of schools. Now this is going in a certain direction. It's a state of flux maybe. Now from here to iMature, right, from being Raghu Pandey, who was going to schools offering workshops trying to sell books, or at least perceived as a guy who's coming to sell books, and iMature today, what is the difference? How did the evolution happen, and what is the business model
Okay,
now?
so as of now, we are the product portfolio that we are coming out with is five online
Right.
courses uh, created for teenagers,
Sorry,
online
five
courses
online courses. Okay.
targeted towards teenagers. Out of
Right.
those five courses, one has
Okay.
already been launched since 2019. But as I said, 2 years of COVID were completely paused for us. So one online course is
Okay.
available in the market. Four more in the pipeline. We are working to gamify those. So for the listeners who do not understand what gamification is, it's a very simple concept. Just like video games have so many elements to keep a person hooked from one stage to another, from achieving one milestone to another in that game, the same elements, just like giving you a
Right.
score for every activity, making you compete with others people's score, telling them that he's the leader or she's the leader right now, try to beat him, giving some goodies, virtual goodies or even physical ones after completion of every activity. Sorry, yeah, no problem.
Raghu, sorry to interrupt. I'm getting this thought again. I just realized. I don't mean to
Uh-huh,
sound
uh-huh.
negative or something. I just want to bring this to you to find out. If you also looked at it like this. See, iBranch, we both agree that the latent need was there, express demand wasn't there. Now, iMature, have you done that analysis? Are you still on the latent need? Is there express
Right.
demand? Because I feel, again, you are having courses, but again, you're trying to solve the problem of having people to complete, adopt, right? So, sorry, this
Or
is
no,
the
that's
thought
a
I got.
very, very good question. In
Did
fact,
you
I
also
wanted
do?
to connect that when we are discussing, solution in search of a problem thing. And it's a very pertinent question.
Right.
Fortunately, now we have crossed the boundary. However, we are still in that
Okay.
zone wherein the expressed demand for a solution from the clients is very loud. The parents and the
Okay.
schools want a solution for this problem, that is overuse, misuse, and risky use of the internet by children. So the express demand for a
Okay.
solution to this problem is very loud and persisting, yeah,
Validated
persisting
as it is.
every
Okay.
day.
Great.
Probably one of the highest priorities of a parent and educator these days is to solve this overuse, misuse, and risky use of the digital devices by children, internet by children. However, yeah,
Got it. But
let me just complete.
proceed, please. Yeah, yeah, sure, sure, sure.
However,
Sorry.
what is not expressed clearly is the solution of digital citizenship and internet maturity education. That is what is the awareness gap that we are trying to fight right now. But it is both of a challenge and an opportunity. Since this
Got it.
vast number of clients, B2C and B2B, that we can cater to, all of them have that problem. So it is a vast opportunity that they want a solution, but the
Mm-hmm.
challenge is that they do not know the
Mm-hmm.
name of the solution, so they cannot come finding us, right? So if you have a
Right.
sports injury, you will go to a orthopedic surgeon or a physiotherapist. You know these names, or a sports medicine person. You know these names, but a parent and a principal
Right.
today does not explicitly call out, "I want a digital citizenship company to come and do this for us." That is happening in US. So we are
Right.
in a
Right.
sweet
Right.
spot in India wherein we are, the category is unknown, but that is where we can take the lead and we can dominate the market. Yeah.
Problem is there, but people still don't know what is the solution or who's
Exactly.
offering
And
the solution.
exactly.
The
And we
problem
are
is there.
seeing the trend in US where it has already become a regular subject in schools. And now the teachers are required for teaching digital citizenship. Now parents are talking about digital citizenship lessons. The US government, not the government, but yeah, one of the senators is bringing a bill for digital citizenship and media literacy education in the US Senate. So that way now it is well validated that it is a clear problem. There is an expressed demand for a solution, and the global trends are towards digital citizenship being that solution to that problem. So we are confident. See, we cannot be gods and foresee that we are going to win, but we are confident that we have picked the winning candidate and bring it into Indian market.
Got it, Raghu. So I see that you
Just give
found
me
a way to
1 second.
validate
I'll have to
that there is
give this instruction. Just give me 1 second.
no problem, no problem.
Sure, I'm back.
Yeah. So, Raghu, yeah, perfect. So you've figured out a way, and you're confident that there is expressed demand, and you validated it in your own way. Now, Raghu, just coming out of iMature a little bit to the listeners, who might be, aspiring knowledge entrepreneurs, and, who might be building some product, and who might be in the latent need validation mindset, how does one validate if there is expressed demand or not? Is there a method you cracked? Is there anything that you
The
can share?
It's the old fashioned way of immersing yourself with the clients. There is no
Okay.
smart or a genius way of figuring out whether the demand exists latently or patently. I don't know that method. The only method I know is spending a lot of time with your customers. So if in my case it is teachers and
Right.
principals and parents, so we did spend a lot of time
Right.
talking to them, hearing them out, mm, separating the false positives and also the false negatives. So I'm not claiming that I have done the perfect job of selecting the right feedback from the market, but we have spent a lot of time with these people, and that is when you can
Got it.
clear off the wrong assumptions that you are working with. I as an entrepreneur, I call assumptions as the biggest enemies of any entrepreneur, whether it is edtech or any other business.
Right.
So immersing yourself with the client uh, is
Right.
the way to clear off those assumptions and figuring out whether the demand is latent, expressed. Yeah, yeah,
Figuring
yeah.
out if there is express demand.
And this
Got it.
book called Zero to One is an
Got it, Raghu.
amazing book for entrepreneurs to read, wherein Peter Thiel, yeah, he
Peter Thiel.
suggests that you have to, if
Yeah.
you want to champion some market segment, then you have to select an underserved category where there is demand and which is invisible from other people's eyes. And that is where the challenge is, are you jumping into that solution in
Exactly.
search of a problem domain, or actually you have stepped on an
Right.
opportunity which is not seen by others but it exists, so you have to spend time to validate whether it exists.
Right.
If you find that out, then you have to take the risk
Right.
of your life and go after it.
Got it, Raghu. Great. I mean, this is very insightful and interesting. Raghu, now, uh, you know, talking about iMature, I see, on the website DCIM, right? Digital Citizenship and Internet Maturity. Now, I think I've probably gone way ahead, but let me step back. What is digital citizenship and
Okay.
internet
Digital
maturity?
citizenship and internet maturity is a set of skills which empower anyone
Hmm.
to make the best use of
Hmm.
internet for education and career, and stay safe from all the threats and
Hmm.
risks of internet. So it is a set of 10 skills. It starts from understanding what is Web 2.0, which is the new form of internet which has caused all the aspects of digital life that we are living in. It starts with user to user networking
Okay.
and user generated content. That is at the root of our digital lives today. Understanding that, differentiating it from the old form of internet. So it starts from there. Then number two is how to
Okay.
create and share digital content, how to share it online. This is
Right.
the digital
Right.
literacy. So let people should not confuse between digital literacy being synonymous with digital citizenship. No, digital literacy is all about, can you create digital content? Can you share it online? So that's the number two skill. Number three is where real internet maturity
Right.
starts. And number three is mature
Hmm.
way of social networking, then mature way of professional networking,
Right.
then online forum discussion skills. Then next one is self expression through blogs, and we are not just talking about how to create a blog, how to publish a post. We are talking about strategically presenting your knowledge through blogs, where it can be very different format of blogging. So that is self-expression through blogs. The
Right.
next comes is smart searching, skills to find trustworthy and legally usable knowledge through Google, and managing your own knowledge repository. Then next is making the best use of online courses and open courseware for self-learning and skill development. Then the ninth skill
Right.
is, which is a huge topic in itself, but in the list of these things, it's just one line item. It is staying safe from online threats and risks. Threats are external. There are various
Mm,
external threats, and risks are internal. You yourself can become an
right.
addict and cause a lot of issues to you. You can yourself ruin your own online reputation. So
Got
it's
it.
a huge topic, but one line item. Finally, what we call as the black belt of internet maturity is creating a
Right.
positive online reputation for yourself to attract the right kind of opportunities you want in life, in your professional life and in your personal life. So these
Right.
10 skills translate into all of these courses that we are designing. This is DCIM basically.
Got it.
No problem.
I'm so sorry about that. Okay. Got it, Raghu. Great. So interesting because correct me if I'm wrong. I think what you've created reminded me of something. Now me representing Edison OS is we are a LMS company, right? If I have to
Right.
like put it in simple terms, it's a very advanced
Right.
kind of a platform which helps people create courses, especially trainers who want to like
Mhm.
launch their own academy. Now, one of the problems every educator faces, especially when it comes to online learning, if it is not live classes, if it is
Mhm.
self-paced courses, it
Mhm.
is a course completion rate. And one of the problems that a lot of people are trying to solve in the
Mhm.
area of course completion, in the area of courses, people who sell courses, is how to get people to
Mhm.
complete the courses. Because yeah, you sell your courses, but if they don't really complete the course, then you're losing out on them recommending your
Absolutely.
courses to somebody else, and it's a
Absolutely.
chain of reactions. I think, have you seen this as a market for your product? These people can really benefit of your product, because if the students are made to start, may not be an exhaustive version
Mhm.
of whatever you're offering, but maybe a very condensed version of this could probably help them go and complete the courses. Is that
It
a solution that is that a problem your product can solve?
Not the most prominent pain points, I would say, but definitely one of the most important outcomes can be that students, or rather, it is designed to be that students learn to strategically choose online courses and then complete them, get the certificate, put it in the right way on your LinkedIn, flaunt your new knowledge for the benefit of. So the DCIM course, trains a student to do that. However, we
Right.
ourselves being an online education company are facing this challenge, and we are very well aware about it. That is why gamification is a core strategy in our company.
Right.
In fact,
Right.
if you
Right.
see in the
Right.
backdrop, there is a frame in which there is a DNA shape you can see here, and here we have listed
Right.
what all
There
things
is.
are in
There
the
is.
DNA of our company, and gamification is a prominent part of it because uh,
Right.
that is the holy grail of the online education industry right now. Uh, if you see the live
Okay.
classes can scale only to a certain level,
Hmm.
a certain number of students. A teacher can handle what,
Right.
50,
Right.
100?
Right. Right.
If he or she is got then 200 students in a class, what beyond that? But the
Right. Right.
industry
Right.
is looking at the scale of teaching a million students through one course. That is why MOOCs are called massive open online courses. The word massive shows
Massive.
the
Yeah.
intent behind the
Yeah. Yeah.
industry, and that intent can be
Right.
fulfilled through solutions which can really motivate a student to learn throughout the course, and gamification is one most
Got it.
prominent approach. So although I am answering your question in a different way, but I believe more than the
Hmm.
education of DCIM, which is, see, we are putting our foot down in the industry and calling it the most important subject, right? This green frame here
Right.
will show you that hashtag most important subject. Yes, we are
Most
going
important
ahead and
subject. Yeah.
sounding crazy to people that is it more important than math, English, and social science and science? Yes, it is. And
Yeah, because it's gonna help people kind of
exactly,
get
this is
onto
the
that
foundation for your
courses
entire
a little bit
learning and
more.
education, which includes a lot of online learning. So to answer your question specifically,
Online
all
learning.
online
Yes.
learners
Yes.
have to be internet mature, otherwise they are not online learners. But
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
answer
Yeah.
this to an entrepreneur, that what are you doing to ensure
Right.
high course completion rates, I would advise, bro, go for gamification. So foundation
Right.
is DCIM,
Right.
definitely that is the foundation, but your real results will be through gamification of your courses.
Gamification. No, I get it. Even you're saying that even for people to complete the course of DCIM, you
Yes,
are
yes,
employing
yes,
the gamification tools.
absolutely.
So, to all the knowledge
In
entrepreneurs that are
fact, that is
listening
the only
and
thing
who
that
run
is going to give us a
platforms,
patent in a couple of years. Otherwise, otherwise, in
okay,
knowledge industry, uh, it is very difficult to have a patentable technology with you.
correct.
Yeah,
There's no USP.
you're not developing anything proprietary in tech, right? You're
Correct,
delivering it your
correct,
own way. You
correct,
have
correct,
the
correct, correct.
trademarks, you can have the copyrights, you can have the other IPRs, but not a patent. So this is that serious we are about gamification.
Great. So yeah, I think a very important thing, a major problem, one of the pertinent problems that are being, that are, that people are trying to solve today, who are having platforms where they sell self-paced courses, this course completion rates, right? Because people are offering today no questions asked refund, and if you're gonna go to that level, obviously course completion is going to be very important, and gamification comes into the picture for that. Got it, Raghu. I'd like to step aside a little bit and then ask a different question related to iMature. I was on your website and I was trying to figure out, okay, how much is the course? I didn't see any pricing.
Okay.
What
Yeah, we
one
have
course you have,
released
DCIM?
one course, and pricing was there. Is there on the website. Maybe you missed seeing it. It's not very prominently displayed. We are selling it for
Okay.
rupees
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
1,280 for one-time enrollment fees.
Okay. Right. Got it. Got it. And DCIM is the only course you have now.
Right.
Four
So
more
this is
courses are in the pipeline.
DCIM Powers, Digital Citizenship and Internet Maturity Powers. Basically, this is the foundation course which takes a student through all these skills that I enumerated a while back, uh, and lays a foundation for student to
Right.
learn the advanced level of courses. But it covers the entire curriculum of digital citizenship in one course.
Got it. And the four more courses are extension of
Advanced levels,
DCIM
right? So
itself. Is that what you're trying to
one
say?
course would then focus on digital
Advanced
footprints and
levels.
online reputation. Another one would focus on collaboration skills over internet, then cyber laws and ethics and safety. So these are advanced courses. Then, yeah.
Got it, Raghu. Great. Raghu, now, stepping out a little bit from DCIM, or, looking at iMature as a business, you are another course creator, you're out there to sell your courses, you think gamification is a way to go about and all those things. But what are the strategies you're employing to sell? How are you, what are your marketing plans? Do you have things in place? What are your targets?
Right. Uh, See, during the course of entrepreneurship, I learned this concept of sales funnel, which beautifully
Right,
articulates how a customer, gets into your lap as a paying customer. And
right,
now all of our strategies are around the concept of sales funnel. So when we understand that at the top layer, it is the awareness of the client, then the interest comes up in the client's mind,
right,
and then finally the client takes a decision
right,
to pay. So
right,
right now, mo- the majority of our activities are focused towards the awareness stage of the funnel, because that is what is missing in our prospective clients.
Hmm.
They are, as I
Got it.
said, very vocal about the problem of overuse, misuse, and risk use of internet, and they want a solution,
Okay.
but they are not aware
Okay.
about DCIM being the solution. So, our strategy for
Okay.
this year is to execute an awareness campaign called Every Child Internet Mature. And
I see that
yeah,
also.
this is a reminder
Yeah.
wall. So, when I walk in here, there
Yeah.
should be a reminder कि ये करना है भाई तुमको. So, Every
Right.
Child Internet Mature is going to be a very important marketing exercise for us, wherein we are going to approach all kinds
Right.
of organizations to help us spread awareness on a very specific thing. DCIM is the solution to that problem.
Right.
We are not going to spread awareness on the problem
Right.
itself because it is existing. We don't have to
Right.
make parents realize that this is the problem. They are realizing. We just have to fill that awareness gap, DCIM
Yeah.
being this solution to this problem. Solution. Yeah.
Solution. Right.
So that we are going to do for this year. And from the next year onwards, we are planning to adopt the traditional digital marketing and inbound marketing strategies to start selling online as much as possible. Yeah.
Got it.
Pretty
It's pretty
straightforward. Yeah.
straightforward and simple when you say that you're trying to make people aware that DCIM is a solution, given that the problem
Yeah.
is acknowledged. But what are the specific methods? Do you already have things in plan? How are you going to go
Okay.
to?
Right.
It's not going to be easy, right?
E-
It's straightforward, yes,
Exactly,
but not easy.
exactly,
So what are
exactly.
the methods?
So again, talking in reference to that sales funnel, uh, our funnel is awareness, engagement, enrollment. So the normal funnel is awareness, interest, and decision. Our funnel is awareness, engagement, enrollment. So as soon as we make a client aware that okay, there is something called DCIM for you to know about, we want to give them an engagement product, a
Hmm,
free product. So if it is a school, we are
got
giving
it.
them a free toolkit to start a DCIM club in their school, comprising of certain number of students and teachers. So year long, these students and teachers are going to do
Right.
some activities around DCIM, get benefited out of those activities, and the school will get warmed up to accept this as a product. Uh, for the
Got
parent,
it.
we are about to launch a free digital parenting app. So currently, all the apps with which parents have today are parental control software. So I can have Google Families app, and I can see what my child is doing, and I can control his or her screen time. All those technical aspects of parental control exist with apps today. But uh,
Right.
an app which helps a parent become a better digital parent, can help a parent to guide the behavior of the child, that is not existing. So
Right.
to emphasize on how important this is, uh, the behavior modification side, we are actually a psychology company more than a technology company. And the only two full-time
Right.
people in my
Right.
team right now are psychologists, apart from me. That is
Okay.
how important this
Got
thing
it.
is, uh, the behavior modification side.
Right.
So that's the strategy. Get two engagement products, one for B2B, one for B2C, and let people use it, and then they can flow further into the funnel and become our customers.
Got it, Raghu. Interesting. And when you say, you're gonna go create some sort of
Yeah,
a club in schools,
yeah,
DCIM, you whatever plans. So the first step is to
indeed.
reach out schools, right? So do you have a target by the end of this year? You need to reach out to so many schools across such and such
Yes, we
location.
do want to start. It's an ambitious target. We do want to see 500 DCM clubs running this year. And
Okay.
to be honest, we are still finalizing the strategy of reaching out. So this Every Child Internet Mature campaign is designed towards that, but we are yet to launch it.
Okay. Got it. So you said you are three people in your team of
Three
iMature,
full-time
right?
people. Otherwise, we have partners
So
also.
I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
partners. Got it. Great. And are you
No, we are
funded
not
at this
funded. We are,
point?
although we have been incubated at good incubation centers earlier. That support we have got.
Okay.
Currently, we are into some programs, some prominent programs like Impact Orbit from IIM Bangalore, Lift Off program from Vadhvani Foundation, then also an impact
Right.
assessment program from Wilgrow. So these are some prominent programs that we are enrolled in, and we
Right.
are hopeful of raising funds this year upon completion of these programs.
Got it. Got it, Raghu. And what is the platform that you're using to host these
As I
courses?
said, my team already has the knowledge of content management system called .NET Nuke,
Content management
DNN.
system.
It's the short form is DNN.
Yeah, yeah.
So we are leveraging that.
Got it.
However, we are open to looking at
Okay.
all sorts of technology stacks. That is not going to be the core of our company. The core is the knowledge
A
part only.
priority.
So we are open to explore more technologies
Got
also,
it.
but currently that is serving us well, so we are sticking to it.
Got it, Raghu. Um, Raghu, I think I've come to the end of all my questions. I think I've got a very deep understanding of what you do, your journey, and what has led you to this point. And I'm sure the listeners also, especially if they are in the domain of creating and selling courses, lot of insights, right? Very basic, I'd like to like summarize it like this, right? One important thing is, if people already know you, whatever you're creating is the solution for a particular problem, then it boils down to gamification for your course completion, and then your conventional sales funnel and the digital marketing strategies. But if you are, I'm sure there are many people who are creating solutions for existing problems that people still aren't aware that this is a solution. You are in the DCIM domain, but I'm sure there are a lot of other domains. I think what you've shared about first bringing awareness amongst people and the plan that you have, I think that's a lot of insight for people to go back with. And it's also, for people to know that, hey, you know what, there are a lot of other people like them out there who have solutions to problems that are existing, but people aren't aware that there is a solution. It can be a very lonely
Indeed,
space, right? And it can also be a little demotivating and discouraging. But powering through all these things, and then having a clear cut plan about this year to raise awareness in a very concrete way, it's amazing. And I think what you're doing, Raghu, is, I think it's going to be mainstream very
that's
soon
the
from now, because it's
yeah
very
that's
interesting
the idea
work.
all about, to make it mainstream. I mean, that's what the effort
Yeah,
is all about. Yeah,
mainstream.
make it mainstream. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna become mainstream because these days kids as young as 5 6 years
Yes,
are exposed to internet, and you can't expect them to kind of understand certain things
absolutely.
by themselves. And maybe government may bring it, just like how there is this driver's license concept before you ride your bike. I am sure DCIM could be that license. You need to finish this course before a kid opens an account
I
on the
would
internet. I think that could, I
thank
I
you,
see that.
and I'm so happy that I didn't bring that out and it came out from you after listening this concept. If you can see another, this yellow colored, orange colored frame here, this is our this is our
Oh, yeah,
trademark.
yeah,
This
yeah.
is called
I see.
Internet Chalane
Right,
Ka
right,
License. I'm so happy to
right.
hear that coming from
Because
you
I
and
was
not
thinking
me
about you.
telling that upfront. Yeah, actually, it is Internet Chalane Ka
Right.
License is how we are convincing parents to go for it.
Yeah, no, no, no. It makes complete sense to me because I was as I talked to you, I was just thinking of my niece. I have a 4-year-old niece, 4.5 years old niece, and she's already
Yes, yes,
watching
yes.
YouTube and all those things. And it's a very gray area for us to discuss. We are somehow hoping that she doesn't get exposed to stuff, and internet is also doing a good job. YouTube is doing a good
Yes.
job by having algorithms. If it identifies that this user is watching
Kids, yeah.
kids, it's going to only show kids. But still, probably when she's 7 8, she's going to be exposed to a lot of other things. And oh yeah, this definitely, to me, it comes across like government should bring in an initiative that says, what, it is mandatory for kids to go through this,
Exactly.
or school should bring in a thing, it is mandatory for kids to go through this before they
Right.
get access to internet. And I think you are looking at something, you are in the starting point of something big. That's how it
Thank
comes
you,
across to
Jagmohan.
me, and I wish it takes that route. I mean, great stuff,
Thank you. And
Raghu.
allow me to,
And
reach out to you and your team with Every Child Internet Mature campaign. And we are going to, express our desire to take support from
Absolutely.
you and your team.
Absolutely. You know what, I'll tell you how we could probably collaborate or contribute to this, because, I mean, more than business, this comes across to me as a very basic need, and it's a no-brainer value add. So we are, having clients who are offering
Right.
courses to kids, and each one of these, each one of a client, I'm sure, they will understand, uh, uh, you know including this as part of their thing. As you know, okay, say for example, there is this client xyz.com. They could definitely say that, you know what, we are a portal where kids can come and learn something, but before that, you know what, it is a mandatory thing for your kid to go through this before, doing that. I see that
Lovely.
as a possibility, and I will be happy to connect you with my team here, and then, you can see how
That's
you
an
can take it forward from
amazing
there.
proposal. Thank you. I will definitely explore that.
It's a pleasure, Raghu. It's only common sense, I think, for anybody who comes across this, and if they have in their capacity to connect you with somebody, I think they should. That's how I see it. But otherwise, it was a pleasure
Indeed,
talking
it
to
was.
you. Very insightful. Loved your journey, and it just shows, you are totally a social problem solver. That's how you come across at this point to me. And all the best, Raghu. Good
Thank
luck to
you.
you, and we
Definitely,
will be in
Jagmohan.
touch, and
I,
we'll see how
and
we
I
can
must
contribute
appreciate
to what you're doing.
you as an interviewer here, that the way you the way you
Thank you.
structured and unstructured the entire interview. So I was thoroughly enjoying talking about
Okay.
myself. Although it's pretty boring for me, but I, I enjoyed this talk.